Hey everyone, it's Clint. I did something and I'm going to take credit for it because I might as well take credit for it. No, it's not this. It's not the new Warriors, Snowflake, and Safe Space. But I feel like this section has been done to death. So I'm going to talk about Boom Studios, but I just got to point this out. This is hilarious. Why on earth would you name Marvel's first non-binary characters Snowflake and Safe Space? Not sure if purposeful, but this reads like a piss take. At a glance, I genuinely thought this was a CG project. I wish it was. I wish it was. I know, guys. I could have done a video on this. Really, I could have focused on this, but you know, there's quarantine. We had an earthquake. That's my excuse. So I kind of missed this one, but that is pretty darn hilarious. All right, we're gonna get into Boom Studios. I want to remind you though that Downcast Rise and Fall is on Indiegogo right now. You can check it out in the link in the description below, and yeah, back it. If you've backed the first one, it's a good time to get the second one. If you haven't backed it at all, then you can actually get Volume 1 and Volume 2 right here in the same campaign. All right, so this is what I'm taking credit for. Boom Studios contemplating staggering and or reducing new titles due to coronavirus. This is a great reason. I mean, well, it's a great idea. It's sad that it took a worldwide pandemic for this idea to happen. To be fair, actually, Boom Studios, I think, does a pretty good job of, maintaining things. I don't think they have any major financial issues that I'm aware of, at least. And so credit where credit's due. I'm glad that they are pursuing this, or at least thinking about it. So I actually suggested a long time ago, not that long ago. It was maybe a few weeks ago. I made a video and I had mentioned the idea of staggering titles. Like if Marvel wanted to, they could go with Ant-Man and do like a 6-issue miniseries of Ant-Man over the course of 6 months, and then put it on hold for another 6 months or so while you do another 6 issues of Hawkeye, something like that, and sort of stagger titles from some of their minor characters. This makes an awful lot of sense to go in kind of like miniseries format, especially because it's not like you have to stop. Like, you can continue the story, and people are used to digesting things in segments like that. You could even get out the trade paperback, in the off season, but treating it like seasons makes a lot of sense because it's reducing the volume of comics that is going to comic book shops on the shelf. This has already been a problem, but it's becoming more of a problem because comic shops are being forced to close down because of restrictions from the government based on coronavirus. I have yet to hear anything from the big two. I sincerely hope that they are considering something like this because I do think it would help. It would help shops out quite a bit. All right, so this is on Newsarama. Boom Studios co-founder CEO Ross Ritchie has joined in a chorus of publishers who have penned open letters to retailers about individual efforts to help stymie the economic impact of the coronavirus epidemic. Now, I'm not sure I would call it a chorus of publishers. I've heard from Image Comics. I've heard from Humanoids. I've heard from, now here we go, Boom. Dynamite months ago had said that they were going to slim down their line. Again, pandemic or not, this is a great idea, I think, for most comic book publishers. All right, the article continues. While not offering specifics, Ritchie speaks to conversations happening and initiatives being considered individual and in tandem with others. All right, so here's the letter from Ross Ritchie of Boom Studios. Actually, it has an exclamation point, so I think it's supposed to be like boom or boom, boom. To our retail partners, this is the moment where everything changes except for one thing. We are all experiencing a lot of disruption personally and professionally. It feels like every day brings new challenges. I run a business and you run a business. Stop right there. I know that sounds really obvious, but that's actually a nice acknowledgement to make, because it seems like there's this weird relationship between comic book retailers and publishers and the distributor Diamond, where comic book retailers are sort of treated like they're at the little kids table. I don't know why that is, because they're actually the ones selling the books. Sales Sales is king. Sales should be king. But I appreciate that. We're all running business. We're all doing the same thing. He says we sell comic books together. That's right. If you don't have comic book shops selling comics, how else are you going to be selling comics? You're going to have to figure out a whole new route to go. All right, we sell comics. That's why in 2017, I started tweeting that everyone in the comic book industry should boost your LCS because local comic book shops are the lifeboat of this industry. And then I put my money where my mouth is. All right, continues. We introduced the Boom Guarantee Retail Program, providing what I and many of you believe is the best retail program in comics. In 2020, we're making 33% of our single issues and 20% of our graphic novels releases returnable each month for comic shop retailers, while also reducing our output 10% to ensure we earn our space on your shelves. This program is free for comic shop retailers. You can sign up right now. Now, this is an interesting concept. This is an interesting step. I know that Boom has already done, they've already done this kind of stuff. But what they're looking at is reducing their line and making some things returnable. That's kind of interesting. I don't know why it's just a percentage of things returnable. I guess it does sort of take a little bit of the risk off of the retailers. Maybe they shoulder some of the risk as the publisher, but not all of the risk. It's kind of an interesting negotiation. I think the big thing here, though, is that they were reducing their output 10%. And this forces them really to just put their best foot forward. They're putting their best stuff out there. I wish every publisher would do the same and think that, in that same direction. All right, he continues, but these times require every publisher to do more, and Boom Studios is no exception. We've been in conversations with Diamond Comic distributors about our ideas for immediate additional relief and support that we believe should be adopted industry-wide, including extended returnability. A unified approach from all major publishers will make this process easier for each of you and ultimately for every one of your customers. All right, now here's where I get into conspiracy theory time. It's long been known that Marvel Comics' approach to competition is just to put out more books and take up as much shelf space as possible. I have to wonder if when they see this kind of stuff going on from indie publishers primarily, saying that they want to reduce lines and they want Marvel to reduce their line as well, if they think it's, they don't want to do that because they're actually okay with these smaller publishers slimming down their line, and Marvel will easily and happily just fill up more of the shelf space with all of their stuff. I would love to be proven otherwise, but I have yet to see anything from Marvel still on the issue of the coronavirus and all these comic shops that are going to be forced to shut down. So all I can do is speculate. He continues, while we'll shortly announce new additional initiatives that will provide new cash flow opportunities for comic shops, we're also taking immediate steps right now, including paid support for our hashtag Boost Your LCS program through social media, reaching 357,000 fans to make sure customers in your area know about their pre-order options, where to get their new comics every Wednesday. We're also spotlighting retailers adopting safe service efforts. So I think this is like the pre-order system, and you drive up curbside, you pick it up. A bunch of retailers, it seems, are finding ways around spreading a virus, but spreading the comics so that their customers know there's nothing stopping them from safely acquiring their favorite new comics. That's great. That's going to take a lot of information, though. It's going to take a lot of communication to make something like that work. And it sure as heck would be nice if some of these large publishers would step in, because people are listening to those big publishers. All right, continues. At the same time, we're evaluating options to further stagger or reduce our new shipments over the coming months. We want to make sure that we engage in conversation with retailers to understand what will ultimately provide the greatest relief while not negatively impacting your bottom line. Everything may be changing around us at this moment, but nothing will ever change the one thing I've learned in the trenches with you. When we work together, we always come out stronger. That is touching. So the truth is, Marvel and DC, especially Marvel, know that comic book shops are going to be buying Marvel comics. Always. Like, if there's anybody selling comics, they're going to have Marvel comics. And that's because they have the biggest chunk of the market share. That's because that's what most people are buying and reading. So while I think that these kind of strategies are good, I think it's important. Hats off to Boom Studios for stepping up to the plate. Not only that, but also adding their voice. I think it means a lot more when it's coming from fellow publishers than it does when it's coming from, somebody like me. But I got to tell you, I really hope that Marvel listens. I hope that they do something, because this is the industry resting on brick and mortar stores, and they're under extreme pressure. I know I've covered this so much, but it is nice to see more studios, more comic book publishers coming out to basically share the same ideas that I've been saying. Staggering titles. Marvel should stagger titles. I'll have Marvel Day. I will do anything if Marvel would start staggering at least some of their titles. I think that's an excellent idea. And I think they could also find that they can focus on creating better comics, the best comics, because they've got some time, some breathing room for comics to be their best. So thanks for watching this video. Really appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I don't know, while we're at it, tell me which is your favorite, Snowflake or Safe Space. Thanks very much, and I will see you next time.